I didn't know what to read, so I've got two things that aren't finished that I'm going to read to you. One of them is already sold, and I am hoping that I get it done in time to turn it in, which is a month from now. This is a YA, probably going to be a novelette. I don't know what I'm doing with it anyway. Squirrel wants very much to find out what's in Mom's briefcase. She has asked, but Mom just laughs her fake laugh, opens it, riffles through the papers. Squirrel sees the tiny machine with all its blades, but Mom flips too fast, and the machine vanishes under a journal about hip replacements. What's it for, she asks, but Mom pretends it's not there. Squirrel thinks it's a time machine to send mice or maybe spiders back to the Cretaceous. She heard about the Cretaceous in the 5th grade, and what scares her aren't the dinosaurs or cycads, though she can't remember right now what cycads are, but the big spinning meteor that wiped them all out. And she's afraid of the little blade machine. She's afraid it will chop up the mouse or the spider and send it back to the Cretaceous in exchange. New for old, big for small. They'll get a meteor, and it will wipe out everything here and now. So one night, Squirrel tells herself to wake up in the middle of the night, and she goes by Mom's bedroom where Mom is making snoring and gasping noises, and she opens the briefcase. Inside, she finds some papers in a very odd alphabet. These are not equations, as she first believes. They seem to be diagrams for building something. Maybe for building a tiny time machine. But there is a lump in the middle of the papers, off to one side, as if something had slid over out that way. And when she lifts up the journal about hip replacements, there it is. The tiny time machine is flat when she first picks up the journal, but it stands up or plumps out like one of those illustrations in a pop-up book. All its blades stick out. Squirrel is very much afraid of it, but she's also fascinated. So she overcomes her fear, just as she overcame her fear of iridescent green beetles, which are both horrific and beautiful, and carefully picks it up by one blade, which sticks out highest at the top. It bites her. Squirrel lets go, and it skitters under the china cabinet. She sucks her finger where the blade went in, then kneels to retrieve the tiny machine. It has flattened itself like a cat flattening its ears, but she can see it quivering, whether in fear or rage or just buzzing because it is a machine. And when she rises from her position in front of the china cabinet, there is her mother, dressed in her big t-shirt that says Immunology Department, and her red sweatpants. "What are you doing, Squirrel?" She doesn't ask nice. She uses Squirrel's name, no little endearments. Squirrel doesn't know what to say. "I heard a noise in your briefcase. I thought maybe there was a mouse in there." "No, you didn't hear anything. What were you doing?" Squirrel can't take it. She tells the truth. "I was looking at the little machine, the one with the knives coming out of it." Mom is silent for a moment. "You having bad dreams again? There's nothing in my briefcase. Here, look." And of course, there's nothing to see because the tiny machine is hiding under the china cabinet. "Go back to bed, Squirrel," Mom says, and Squirrel understands that Mom has had a quarrel with one of the hospital administrators again. She meekly retreats to her room, and Mom kisses her roughly on the top of her head before she lies down, but not to sleep. She knows the little bladed machine is skittering around the house. She can hear it. It scrapes the floor lightly in front of her room. Then it pats down the hallway toward the front door. It's going someplace. Can it get the door open? Once she is sure Mom is in bed, Squirrel gets her shoes and puts them on without socks. She grabs a sweater because it's cold out. The little machine is pulsing up and down, waiting by the front door. Squirrel knows it could leave without her because it can flatten itself. She figures it could flatten itself so it fit in an envelope, like one of those singing birthday cards. Surely it could go under the door. And as she's thinking about it, it collapses into a bunch of shiny cutouts and whisks away as if a breeze had taken it out the front door into the hallway. Squirrel knows the alarm will go off as she opens the door, but she does it anyway. The alarm doesn't go off. Squirrel looks down the hallway and sees something sparkly. She doesn't have her glasses, and that something is so far away, it's a little blurry, but it looks like it might be the briefcase thing. "Wait," she says to it. She doesn't know if it has any reason to wait, but she goes back to her bedroom, which is the other end of the apartment, and gets her shoes, her glasses, and her parka. When she gets back to the door, the briefcase thing has gone. However, she sees a bit of glittery confetti on the pavement, and a little further down in the hall, there's another piece. She puts her hand into her pocket of her parka to make sure she has the key she always carries with her. Then she closes the apartment door very softly. The alarm has not gone off. She finds the skittery bladed thing near the elevator, but it immediately retreats to a set of stairs. She darts down 2 flights before she thinks to look and see if it is ahead of her or has run into the hallway. There is a piece of glittery confetti on a step another flight down. She follows it thus until at the end she almost catches up to it. It jitters and jumps and leaps from stair to stair like a playful kitten made of knives. It has legs like scissors and what? She just notices eyes like the LED display that tells her mother's computer is on or off. And just as she is ready to run down the 3rd floor stairs, there is a whoosh of cold air and the smell of snow. She clatters down to the lobby. The front doors are open, both the outer one, which is always unlocked so the postman and the UPS lady can get in, and also the inner door, which opens only with Mom's key. The lobby is very cold now, and snow is drifting in from the sidewalk outside. Squirrel buttons the top button of her coat and steps outside. A tiny red light at the foot of a newspaper box at the end of the block. Except it's not a light, it's a reflection from a piece of glitter confetti. Squirrel is frightened. She knows she could go back to bed, but she's also curious. She'll just go to the corner. Just peek around to see if the little bladed machine is there. Her cheeks burn from the cold wind and her eyes tear, but she walks on pavement so cold it's got to be brittle, her shoes marking through a thin skiff of snow. There is a smell of hot pretzels, and she wonders if the pretzel cart is out this early. Then she smells other good things: baked apples, burned sugar, cinnamon buns, toast. She sees the bladed machine, which hesitates, trembling half a block away. The smells are coming from beyond it. She wants to go back upstairs, wants this to be a dream. But if it's a dream, it's okay to walk in freezing cold out alone in the dark with only street lights to protect you. So she follows the little machine. The little machine spits out a bit of glittery confetti every so often. It heads toward the subway station. The subway doesn't run in the middle of the night from this station. Mother has commented on the inconvenience. She likes to go to a movie downtown, but the subway stops running before the movie is over, so she has to take a cab back. There is no one on the street. There is no one on the stairs down to the subway. The little machine dances down the stairs doing cartwheels on its tiny sharp blades. Squirrel hesitates. This isn't real. She can go or stay and none of it will matter. So she decides to follow it down the stairs. The little machine skitters quickly down a side tunnel that Squirrel has never explored. Then it takes a sharp turn. A boombox, unattended, blares barfy, croony grown-up music at one corner, guarded only by a red scarf and a cowboy hat with a dollar bill inside. The subway smells of sweat and fuel oil and popcorn. There's a turnstile. She reaches in her pocket, thinking maybe she has her pass. In the dark, she swipes the plastic card she finds. When a nearby light flickers on momentarily, she sees that it's a Pokemon card. Squirrel follows it, and suddenly her hearing is overwhelmed by the roar of a train. Its light bears down on her, and she wonders in one horrified moment if she has accidentally stepped down off the platform onto the track. But no, it stops. The doors screech open, and the machine hops lightly aboard. This is a dream. Squirrel hops on behind it. The doors close and the train starts to move, picks up speed. And that's when Squirrel remembers that although she dreams in color and hears music in her dreams that sometimes can feel cold or heat or the touch of a banister, she never smells anything in a dream. Never. The train picks up speed. The rocking of the train makes Squirrel sleepy. She is frightened, but she also is a girl who needs her sleep. The train doesn't stop, just sways occasionally and goes around a steep bend. When Squirrel wakes up, bright morning sun shines through the dusty glass. She's alone in the car. A man in a fantastical outfit, all velvet and stained glass colors, with an enormous purple hat with a huge plume, comes onto the train and pokes her with a cane. The cane has the head of a snarling dog. She cannot see the sharp-bladed little machine. If it was a dream, the dream is over. She smells sweat and strange perfume and sunshine and grass. The man with the plumed hat snarls at her in a strange language. She jumps to her feet, making her head swim. "Excuse me," she says to him, "may I borrow your cell phone? I'm lost and I need to call my mother." The man in the hat clears his throat and begins speaking in English. His accent is very strange, but at first she can't understand him, and finally he says, "Who is your mother?" Squirrel recites her mother's name and address and telephone number. The man blinks. "That's not right, all those numbers, I'll have to get the..." And then he uses a word in another language. He takes out a long red ribbon and, to her surprise, ties it around her neck, then turns and walks away. When she stands up, the man turns, glares at her, and gives a sharp tug on the ribbon. "And bring your baggage." Squirrel sees there's a big Filene's bag on the seat next to where she was sitting. "That's not mine," she says politely, but it doesn't seem to be anybody else's either, since the car, in fact, the whole train is deserted. "Bring the bag," he insists, not kindly. So she gets the bag, and he tugs once more on the ribbon. So she follows him. After they have walked about 1,000 miles, the man comes to a little pink house trimmed with purple gingerbread. It has windows, but they are shuttered closed. Squirrel has alarming feelings about gingerbread houses. She's heard the story. And she figures it might have, in fact, have some truth, despite the childish aura it always has had. So she begins to untie the red ribbon from around her neck, but it's too late. The man throws his plumed hat on the ground and grabs her. She kicks and screams, but he holds fast and nobody comes. He shoves her into the pink house and shuts the door. She slams her shoulder into it, but it won't budge. The room is very dark and smells like bad perfume. She sits on the floor and begins to cry. After a while, she gets up and explores. The windows are locked, but the little house is quite comfortable. The Filene's bag is gone, but there is a little soft chair and nice silky carpeting and curtains that feel velvet. There is also something in one corner that clicks and snicks and skitters across the room to another corner. There isn't much light in the little house, but Squirrel can see a glint of dull light on it. It's the little machine. The little machine pulses up and down, and the faint light glances off its various blades. More blades snap up out of its body until it looks like a robotic porcupine. Squirrel finds this both amusing and slightly scary. She decides to speak to it. "Do you have a name?" she asks it. "Nothing." But the machine skitters up a wall and begins to tap on the glass of the window. Not that this will do any good, because the window is shuttered tight outside the glass, so it breaks the glass. Shards explode all over the room, and Squirrel is glad she's wearing shoes because she was sure she would step on some and cut her feet, and just then she realizes a shard is sticking in her cheek. She cries out and throws the glass across the room. Wet, sticky stuff, black in the faint light, but surely blood, stains her hand when she wipes at her face. She sits down on the chair and to cry, but jumps up when she feels that the glass has landed there, too. The little machine has tiny sawtooth curved blades in it, in front of it, something like pincers, and it is tapping away at the shutter under the glass. She watches, curious but hopeless. The little machine can't possibly get through the wood. It clatters down from the window, jitters across the floor, and disappears through the crack underneath. "Rat!" she says, because rats abandon sinking ships. And it's not funny. It's causing her to cry louder. It got her in this trouble, and it's making no believable effort to get her out. A minute later, the door bursts open. "Time for your audience," says the man with the plume. It takes Squirrel a moment to remember that an audience means you have to go to a nice conversation with the Pope or somebody, except they get to do all the talking. "Bring your bag," says the man with the plume. She hadn't seen it before. She picks it up, and it is very heavy. To get to the audience room, they have to ride across a vast expanse of beach. They are joined by a squadron of about 20 boys, all wearing various fantastical hats. Squirrel sort of would like to have one or two of the hats. The one shaped like the Eiffel Tower is funny, and she could wear it for Halloween. She also likes the one shaped like a sailing ship.